Good morning here in Latin America and the Caribbean, and good evening to everyone there in China. I am Pablo Bomaro, the Research Director of CLACSO, and on behalf of CLACSO, it is a pleasure, an honor, and a great responsibility to make the opening remarks of this meeting, which presents the public signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, CAS, and the Latin American Council of Social Sciences, CLACSO. In the first place, I am glad and honored to greet our friends and colleagues from CAS. Wang, PhD, General Director, Buró of International Cooperation, CAS. Liao, PhD, Deputy General Director, Bureau of International Cooperation, CAS. Graduate Zhang, Lihua, Director, America and Oceania Division, International Cooperation Bureau, CAS. And Professor Xu Qiong Luna, Coordinator of Latin America and the Caribbean, Division of America and Oceania, Bureau of International Cooperation, CAS. And also greet my colleagues from CLACSO, Karina Batiani, PhD, Executive Secretary, CLACSO, and Public Accountant, Laura Gaston, Head of Administration, CLACSO. This meeting strengthened the cooperation relationship between China, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and contributes to the exchange of experiences, the collaborative construction of knowledge, and the impact of the joint knowledge produces on public policies that improve the living condition of the majority of the population in our countries, in our continents, sorry. From CLACSO, we are sure that academic, cultural, and scientific cooperation between China, Latin America, and the Caribbean is a way to bring our region closer and build bridges between our cultures and experiences. In addition, the cooperation is part of the work that CLACSO carries out from South-South perspectives. It is also part of the One Belt, One Road initiative that China has been promoting for years as a way to strengthen international cooperation relationships. As part of this joint effort between CAS and CLACSO, which we are endorsing today with the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding, we are presenting the dialogues on development experiences between China, Latin America, and the Caribbean. These dialogues will be a path that will guide the cooperative relation between the two institutions and consolidate our exchanges. Latin America and the Caribbean has much to learn from China experiences. And China also has much to learn from the many social, academic, and cultural initiatives in Latin America and the Caribbean. Once again, emphasizing the historic importance of this meeting and of this agreement, I hereby inaugurate this public signing of the Memorandum of Understanding, and I am pleased that we are initiating the dialogues on development experiences between China, Latin America, and the Caribbean. I hope that we can develop very productive and rewarding joint activities and projects for both regions. I would especially like to thank Professor Xu Qiong Luna for the effort she made to make this agreement and today's meetings possible. We look forward to welcoming you and the CAS director soon here in Latin America. Finally, I have the honor of giving the floor to the General Director of the Bureau of International Cooperation of CAS, Wang, PhD. Thank you very much once again. Please, General Director Wang.
Okay, thank you very much for your very warm remarks. And it's really my great pleasure and honor to can participate in this very important event. So we just signed the agreement between the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences and the Latin American Council of Cooperation many years ago. So over the years, we have experienced a very fruitful, very friendly, and successful cooperation in different ways. We had joint seminars. We conducted public each other to participate. So I think this time we renew our agreement. Will create more prospects for our future cooperation. And for our academy, we value very much the very high quality and extensive network supported by your council in the field of social sciences. Actually, you have made a great contribution in promoting the social sciences research and international cooperation for Latin American and the Caribbean region, within the region, and also with other regions, with other countries, particularly with China. So we value very much for your great contribution, and we also wish you in the future can have more outstanding contribution in this area. I think the renewing of our agreement is a new start of our collaboration. And this happens in very special context. I still remember very clearly in 2019, your delegation visited our academy. We had a very in-depth and fruitful discussion about our cooperation. We explored many areas and the possibilities for cooperation. Actually, from that time, we already proceed to engage in many joint events. But unfortunately, the COVID-19 from the end of 2019 taking place, and China and the Latin American Caribbean region actually very heavily hit, and the whole world have encountered very severe impact of the pandemic. I think the situation in China, because of the very strict measures taken by the Chinese government and by the Chinese society, we have quite effectively contained the pandemic in China. And actually, China is also very actively to working together with other regions and countries in the world to jointly combat the pandemic. From the perspective of China, we see the world is still facing the perplexing pandemic. At the same time, for China, we try to restore our social and economic order and try to get more efficient, more effective recovery of our economy. So from the situation of last year for 2020, the Chinese economy achieved the positive 3.2% of GDP growth. For a major economy in the world, this is the only one to achieve the positive GDP growth, thanks to the very effective containing measures taken in China. And actually, in this crisis, because of the stabilizing measures taken in China to ensure the Chinese production and the supply chain, production chain can operate continuously. And actually China in the global chain has contributed a lot output to the global chain of production and supply. So we see for the last several months of this year, the Chinese export is keeping growth. That means the Chinese output products going abroad to function as a stabilizing role in the global economy. So according to the according to the forecasting of OECD for the global economic outlook of this year, China can achieve about 8.5% of growth, will contribute to about 27% of the global economic growth. So we hope China can keep this good momentum, not only benefiting the Chinese people, but also can provide the world more economic and economic contribution to the world. So in this combining pandemic perspective, I think China and the Latin American country, we can actually learn from each other and can have more cooperation in this dimension. We know in Latin American countries, the COVID-19 is still a very severe challenge to many countries and in the region. China now is also cooperating with Latin American regions and countries to supply more vaccine to this region. Actually, in the early of next month, our academy will also host a technical workshop in collaboration with the institution of Argentina to talk about the Chinese vaccine and how China and Argentina can work more closely in the area of vaccination to combat, to fight against the COVID-19 is not only about vaccination, but also allows a whole side of policies, macroeconomic policies and social policies, and the application of new science technologies. So I think this special context also provide us of more possibilities and more potential to work together between social scientists of China and your region. So I would like to mention at first this very special context. Secondly, I also would like to mention that for China, this is very special year because we are going to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese Communist Party. China now is already the second largest economy in the world, and also is contributing to the growth and prosperity and peace of the world. But actually, if going back 70 years ago, 100 years ago, China is a country in the severe backwardness. It's completely agricultural country, and also suffered the imperialism, feudalism. But now China is a modernized or a country in modernization. So this earth-shaking change of China is very much because of the Chinese Communist Party to lead this nation to find a way how to develop China. So we call it as the Chinese socialism, the socialist market economy with Chinese characteristics. So we think the development path and the Chinese model, Chinese experience can really provide reference for other developing countries and the emerging economies. So I think under our renewed agreement of cooperation, we can really more closely work together to see how China and the Latin American countries, we can learn from each other about how to develop, how to govern our society and our economies, and how we can get wisdom from our different cultures and make our cultural heritage, our cultural traditions can contribute to social issues. I think our academy and your council, we can both play very important role also in this regard. I think for about the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, you have already acquainted with our background and our function. What I would like to stress is that our academy is really a very comprehensive and professional research institution. So we cover the whole field of social sciences and humanities, from economics to sociology, international issues, ecological issues, and also literature, history. So it's a very complete spectrum. I think this is a very special advantage of CLACSO as an academic institution and a think tank institution affiliated to the central government. That means we can provide a lot of collaboration to our Latin American and the Caribbean partners to help you to get more sufficient and first-hand understanding about the tradition and also about the current development of China, because this undertaking requires a very wide information and also a lot of expertise. So I think our researchers, our research institutes can really work with you to provide more information about China and to explore together with you about the possibilities for China and the Latin American countries, how we can work together more closely in different areas, including in the construction of Belt and Roads. So finally, I would like to reiterate our gratitude to your council, to our dear colleagues. We really hope this pandemic can be solved, can be fight back very soon. So then we can really have the offline meeting, and we expect very frequent in the future, the extra visits, exchange of visits and the joint activities. And also from your platform, we also very eager to promote more joint activities with different institutions in your region. So we wish you all the best, especially in the period to fighting against the pandemic. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Wang Lei. And please, Karina Batiani.
Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Pablo. And good morning to everyone here in Latin America, and good evening to everyone there in China. It is really a pleasure to greet our friends and colleagues from CAS, Wang Lei, Liao Fang, Zhang Lihua, Xu Xiong Luna. Really, and also obviously to greet my colleagues from CLACSO, Pablo and Laura. Let me start by saying how happy and how honored we are to sign this memorandum of understanding with CAS. We truly consider that this is really an important milestone in the cooperation link between CLACSO and CAS that will really allow us to carry out activities together. Activities related to training, to research, communication, and also publication and diffusion of knowledge. With this memorandum of understanding, we will continue to promote academic exchange and research cooperation between China and Latin America and the Caribbean in relevant areas of social science and the humanities, like symposiums, forums, roundtables, meetings, exchange of visitors, exchange of publications and different kinds of materials, joint research activities, and also obviously joint publication, as we are already doing with CAS. This is also, part of the South-South development and work policy that CLACSO promotes. South-South cooperation is a manifestation of solidarity between peoples, countries, and regions of the South that contributes to the well-being of populations and the achievement of international agreement development goals. Likewise, I want also to present the first initiative that we will develop between the framework of this Memorandum of Understanding, Dialogues on Development Experience between China, Latin America, and the Caribbean. I would like to present some issues or some themes that from the Latin America and the Caribbean perspective and experience, we consider can be integrated into this cycle of dialogues. As Professor and Dr. Wang Lei said before, we are in a time of unprecedented global changes. The coronavirus pandemic has obviously had an unprecedented impact on the life of people here in Latin America and the Caribbean especially. The magnitude of the crisis in the regions has reopen debates on the role of the state, politics in general, and public policies in particular, but particularly social public policies. Therefore, we want to highlight some topics that will need particular attention in the coming years and that maybe we can integrate in the agenda of this dialogue that we are promoting between CLACSO and CAS. The first issue is obviously poverty and extreme poverty. Particularly here, we find in the experience of China and in the experience of China in its fight against poverty, a possibility for learning, for cooperation, and for mutual exchange. this issue is really urgent in Latin America and the Caribbean nowadays, maybe we can also go further and think on a South-South observatory on poverty that we can integrate in our joint activities in the coming month or years. Secondly, the second issue is democracies and the process of political instability that are affecting the Latin American and the Caribbean region. Maybe we can include this also in the discussion and include the challenge and the opportunity toward the construction of a more democratic globalization. Then, in the third place, climate change and environmental crisis. Latin America society suffer directly from the social and environmental consequence of global climate change. It is time to rethink humanity's relationship with nature, to question the notion of autonomy, and to replace the anthropocentric and instrumental views of the earth that we have nowadays. For migration and human mobility. Human mobility through migration is really a social phenomenon of enormous impact on contemporary reality. It is affecting particularly Latin American society, especially in the Caribbean and in Central America. The region obviously was suffering from a severe migration crisis before the pandemic, but the pandemic has deepened it. The closure of borders, the increase of the securitization of borders, and the effect of these policies on the migrant population impose the challenge of reflecting on human mobility and migration. Then, 5, an opportunity also to discuss and to try to bridge gender gaps. Especially in Latin America, we are very worried around gender gaps, but especially in gender-based violence that are affecting women here in Latin America and the Caribbean. And finally, I think that we can also include knowledge productions and evaluation systems in science, particularly in social science, and discuss criteria, indicators, languages, publications, open access, and so on in this agreement and this cooperation between China and Latin America and the Caribbean. Finally, I want to emphasize that it is time to carry out in-depth academic exchange on development and cooperation between China and Latin America and the Caribbean. In this time of unprecedented global change, we need to discuss on how to establish a region-wide academic dialogue mechanism. And this memorandum of understanding is really an important step in this direction. From CLACSO, we are sure, absolutely sure, that academic, cultural, and scientific cooperation between China and Latin America and the Caribbean is a way to bring our regions closer and build bridges between our cultures and experience. And lastly, I want to especially invite you to our next conference on social science and humanity that will take place in Mexico next year, June 2022, and organize a special panel or forum around this issue and around the cooperation between Latin America and the Caribbean and China. We will send, obviously, formal invitation for this cooperation, but it is now a good opportunity to invite especially Wang Lei and the other colleagues, obviously, to this conference in Mexico in UNAM, Universidad Autónoma de México. Thank you very much, and we are really happy and excited with this memorandum of understanding and this dialogue that we are starting today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karina. And please, Liao Fan, PhD, Deputy General Director, it's your time. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Director Lumura. Actually, this evening, and on the part of my Argentine friends, this morning marks a milestone in the cooperation between CAS and CLACSO with the signing of this memorandum of understanding. Director Pablo Vomaro has made a very warm and a very exciting opening remark, and General Director Wang Lei and Executive Secretary Bachani has made a very good statement, and I actually am very excited to hear your statements and to think about our future cooperation. That is, I'm sure will come soon. So I want to say actually 3 words that I feel very impressed during this period of dialogue. First is understanding. Actually, the signing of the memorandum of understanding, I think it's the name of this document. I think is very enlightening, because I think we really need to know more about each other. We need to understand more of each other. For example, when we talk about the development experience between the sharing of development experience between Latin America and China, as Director Wang Lei has mentioned, actually the development of China, the eradication of absolute poverty by the end of last year cannot be finished, cannot be achieved without the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. But this, I think, we Chinese people, we know very clearly, but we need to convey this message to the world. We need to tell the world, the other people in the world, this message. This is very important. And another example is that actually we have long heard of the so-called middle income trap that is attached to Latin America. But actually, during some discussion with Latin American friends recently, actually I found that this term was actually coined out by some Western scholars. Actually, many, for example, Argentine scholars do not buy this concept, this so-called middle income trap. So I mean that we really need to know more, understand more of each other, so that we can have a shared, a shared understanding. We can have a informed sympathy towards each other. This is very important. The second word I want to emphasize is cooperation, which has already been emphasized by both directors, by Director Wang Lei and by Executive Secretary Bachani during your statement. In this globalized world, no country is an island. I think this pandemic, COVID-19, has told us more than ever, told us that we are actually connected to each other. We cannot successfully fight back this pandemic without cooperation. We cannot recover from the disaster caused by this pandemic without cooperation. We cannot have successful recovery and further development without cooperation. For example, how can we orderly reopen our borders after, when and if the pandemic has somehow been controlled? How can we orderly reopen our border? How can we ensure smooth, travel and trade, so on and so forth? We cannot achieve this without cooperation. But the third word I want to emphasize is confidence. Confidence. Actually, I think we have all seen that actually in the past 1 or 2 years, actually the world order, the multilateralist order that have been there for nearly 80 years has somehow been in peril due to some reasons we all know, due to the, capricious acts of some countries, and due to the surgence of protectionism and unilateralism. But I think just because the multilateralist order, the system is under peril, doesn't mean that we should lose confidence. We should not lose hope. We need to do our part. We need to make more effort to support the international system with the United Nations as the core, and the international order based on the international law. So I think we, as social scientists, we can do, as social science scholars, what we can do is to make our voice towards the right direction. We should have more interaction, we should have more cooperation, and most importantly, we should have confidence in the future. We should have confidence that actually, we should have confidence that sooner or later the world will go back to its right track. So, so in the end, I would like to congratulate on both of us for the signing of this memorandum of understanding, and I look forward to face-to-face communication in the near future. Thank you, my colleagues and friends.
Thank you very much, Liao Fan. Thank you very much for your speak. Very warm and very powerful too. Luna, Professor Luna, I think that we can close this meeting. I don't know if you want to say anything, to say the final words.
Ya, nosotros no vamos a tierra porque todo está muy bien, y para gas vamos a hacer todos los esfuerzos para rechazar los vínculos entre la gas y el CLACSO, y siempre estamos a su disposición. Muchísimas gracias por la organización de este evento.
Muchas gracias, Luna. I don't know if somebody want to say anything, want to add anything, and so thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Cass. Thank you very much, Wanlei, PhD. Thank you very much, Luna, Professor Su Kyung. Thank you very much, Zhang, Lihua. And thank you very much, Liao Fan, for your final words. So,
thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias. Nos vemos.
Muchas gracias.
¿Sí?
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Gracias. Thank you.